In the world of Formula One, rumors can ignite faster than a race car's engine. And right now, the paddock is ablaze with whispers of the biggest move in F1 history. A £1 billion deal for Max Verstappen to switch to Aston Martin? It's a number so huge, it's hard to wrap your head around. But in the high-stakes world of F1, anything can happen. Aston Martin denies it. Max says he's happy where he is. Yet, we've seen shocking moves before in this sport. Remember when Schumacher left Ferrari, or when Hamilton jumped to Mercedes? Big moves happen when you least expect them. So, could Max be the next to shock us all? Max Verstappen's domination at Red Bull is like a well-oiled machine. He's winning races left and right, and the team's built around him. It's comfortable, it's successful, and it's all he's known in F1. But in this sport, things can change faster than a pit stop. Now, Aston Martin's making waves. They're not just another team on the grid, they're aiming for the stars, and they've got their sights set on Max. Why? It's not just about getting a top driver. They're looking at the big picture, thinking about building a legacy. For Aston Martin, Max could be the cornerstone of their long-term strategy to become a powerhouse in F1. The rumors about Max potentially moving to Aston Martin are like a tornado in the paddock. Everyone's talking about it. And the numbers being thrown around, they're eye-watering. We're talking about potentially the biggest contract in F1 history. It's the kind of offer that makes you think twice, no matter how good you've got it. But for Max, is it just about the money? Maybe not. It could be about proving he can win with any team, not just Red Bull. It's like a chess grandmaster deciding whether to stick with a winning strategy or completely change the game. Both choices have their risks and rewards. Max hasn't shut down the idea completely. He said, "I'm very happy where I am now, but in F1, you never know what happens." That's not a yes, but it's not a hard no either. And Aston Martin? They're not hiding their interest. Team principal Mike Crack said they're always looking for top talent. But here's the thing. F1 isn't just about the driver. It's about the whole package. The car, the team, the strategy. Max knows this better than anyone. He's seen what happens when everything clicks. And that's what makes this decision so tough. Is the grass really greener on the other side? Or is sticking with Red Bull the safer bet? And let's not forget, there's another factor that could sway Max's decision. A certain Adrian Newey, the design genius behind Red Bull's success. But that's a story for another lap. In the world of F1, one man's move can shift the entire balance of power. And Adrian Newey isn't just any man. He's the mastermind behind Max Verstappen's championship-winning machines, the Picasso of racing cars. But now, Newey's made a move to Aston Martin, and it's got everyone talking. Could this be the key that unlocks Max's future? Max and Adrian have conquered the world together multiple times. From 2021 to 2024, every car that Max drove to victory was shaped by Newey's genius. They've got this special connection. Max knows exactly how good Newey is, and he's not shy about saying it. Max once said about his team, "I am very loyal to my own team, and I just feel at home there." So there is actually not much to achieve at the moment. But when he says team, how much of that is about Adrian Newey? Newey's move to Aston Martin is huge. They're building something big, aiming to fight for championships. They need a brilliant car and a brilliant driver. Newey's already ticked one box. But what about the driver? There are whispers that Newey's not convinced by Aston Martin's current lineup. Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll are good, but are they championship material? Newey knows what it takes to win. He's worked with the best. But with Max, it was different. They clicked. They understood each other. Together, they were unstoppable. Is Newey laying the groundwork for a reunion? The 2026 regulations are coming up, shaking things up big time. New rules, new cars, new opportunities. If you're Aston Martin with Adrian Newey, what's missing? A driver who can squeeze every drop of performance out of Newey's creations. Who better than Max Verstappen? It's about the challenge, too. Max has been dominating at Red Bull, but every champion wonders, what's next? Can I do it again, but in a different color? Can I prove I'm great anywhere? Newey's move might influence other key players in F1. Will other top engineers follow? How will teams respond to this power shift? The 2026 season suddenly looks very interesting. Imagine Formula One in 2026 as a completely new sport. It's like they're taking the current cars, stripping them down to the bare bones, and rebuilding them from scratch. The engines will be more electric than ever, with the familiar whine of the MGUK replaced by a new symphony of power. The cars themselves will look, handle, and race differently. It's not just a new chapter, it's a whole new book. For Max Verstappen, this isn't just another season to prepare for, it's a crossroads in his career. He's been dominating with Red Bull, but 2026 could shuffle the entire grid. Suddenly, teams at the back could be fighting for wins, while current frontrunners might struggle to keep up. It's like starting over, and Max knows it. Max has said, "If I don't enjoy the regulations, I may not stick around." That's huge. It shows how these changes are messing with his head. He's not just thinking about adapting his driving style, he's questioning whether he even wants to be part of this new era. For Max, it's all about legacy now. He's young, but he's already achieved so much. He's not looking to race into his 40s. He wants to make his mark and move on. So if these 2026 regulations don't light his fire, he might just decide it's time for a new challenge. This is where Aston Martin could come into play. With Adrian Newey on board, they're building for 2026 and beyond. For Max, it could be the perfect opportunity to prove he can win with a different team in a completely new era of F1. But it's not just about Max. The 2026 regulations are going to shake up the entire driver market. We're talking about a bunch of top drivers out of contract right when these new rules kick in. It's a high-stakes game of musical chairs. For Max's career, it's all about timing now. Stay at Red Bull, and he's betting on them mastering these new regulations. Jump to Aston Martin, and he's gambling on their ability to build a winner from scratch. Either way, it's a massive risk. But then again, isn't that what makes champions? I don't value my success because of what other people say. If I am happy, that's all that matters. That's Max Verstappen for you. He's not chasing legacy, he's living in the moment. But his next move could shape his future in ways he might not expect. Think about Michael Schumacher joining Ferrari in '96. Everyone thought he was crazy, but 7 world titles later, he's a legend. Then there's Fernando Alonso's return to McLaren in 2015. That didn't work out so well. It's not just about the money, it's about comfort versus challenge. Max has hinted he won't be racing into his 40s like some drivers. He's got bigger plans. Endurance racing, starting his own team, it's like he's mapping out a whole racing empire. This Aston Martin offer isn't just about F1, it's about his entire racing career. Fans and media would go wild if Max left Red Bull. Some would call him brave, others might say he's throwing away a good thing. But Max doesn't seem to care what people think. He's focused on what makes him happy. Max's interest in endurance racing could play into this decision. Le Mans, the 24 Hours of Daytona, these races attract F1 drivers looking for new challenges. And starting his own team, that's a whole different ballgame. It's not just about driving anymore. It's about building something from the ground up. So what's Max's ultimate goal? Rack up championships with Red Bull? Prove he can win anywhere? Or is it something bigger beyond F1? Only Max knows for sure. But one thing's clear. Whatever he decides, it'll be on his own terms, because that's just how Max Verstappen rolls. Standing at this crossroads, Max's decision isn't just about the next race or season. It's about weighing the comfort of a winning team against the thrill of a new challenge. It's about deciding if he wants to be remembered as the guy who dominated with one team or the driver who took a risk to prove he could win anywhere. Whatever path he chooses, it's sure to shape his legacy, whether he cares about it or not. Imagine you're Max Verstappen. The world's watching, waiting for your next move. What do? Max's decision isn't just about him. It's about shaping F1's future. But he's not worried about legacy or what people will say in 20 years. He's writing his own story, his way. It's about a driver at his peak, facing a choice that could change everything. Stick with what you know or leap into the unknown? That's the pressure separating greats from legends. They make tough calls and own them, no matter what. What would you do in Max's shoes? Share your thoughts below, and stay tuned. This story's far from over.